Hello everyone, it's your bud. Today we will be talking about the Nox from Stargate SG1. For those who do not know, the Nox are a very elf or fairy-like people that possess incredible capabilities and very calm and caring personalities. And though the Nox hold a simple outwards appearance to outsiders, they are one of, if not the most technologically advanced race in the Milky Way or in the entire series of Stargate. I will not be spoiling much in this, however I will be talking about some of the later developments in the Stargate story, as Stargate is a 10-year series for just SG1. So, I will be mentioning things such as Ascension, the alliance of the 4 great races, and the birth of the 5th race. So if some of those words don't mean anything to you, then you should go watch Stargate SG1 for yourself and learn it all firsthand. Now, for those who have already seen SG1 as many times as I have, and I don't even know the total amount of times I've watched the whole series, but it's at least 5 or 6 times for the whole 10 seasons, and then probably another 5 or 6 times for Atlantis. I actually just deleted some Atlantis and SG1 episodes off my computer because they were taking up too much room. I've watched it way too much. I've always loved the Nox, and every time I rewatch Stargate, I think that Laia is one of the best characters, and so are all of her people. The first time we meet them is in pursuit of an enemy. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick crash course here for people who have no idea what Stargate is and the worlds and the species. So the world of Stargate takes place over many different planets in the Milky Way galaxy, at least Stargate SG1. So there was a race of these snake-like beings that evolved in a lake on a certain planet. And that certain planet had these monstrous forms called Unis. They were these big, strong, ugly-looking beasts. And these snake-like goa'uld managed to climb into the heads of the Unis and take control over the body. Eventually, they left that planet and found other worlds and became parasitic beings and rulers over a big slave society. Now, this parasitic culture traveled the stars, enslaving many in their Unis form. However, one day, the leader of which came to a planet with a brand new species. This species was humanity. Discovering that this form could be a perfect new host and discovering the gods of this species, these parasitic beings implanted themselves in humans and took on the form of gods to have humans worship them. They took humans from Earth and supplanted them throughout the Milky Way galaxy and reigned over this new realm as gods. Eventually, the humans of Earth buried the Stargate. A Stargate is a round device that is on many different worlds created by a race called the Ancients. Now, we will not discuss the Ancients here, but this device, this Stargate, can create a stable portal between 2 rings and can transport you from planet to planet instantly. So the Stargate on Earth was buried in a revolt, and eventually the goa'ulds left Earth to rule over the rest of their empire of the stars. Now, SG1 takes place when humanity unburies their gate and rediscovers their ancient past. They go out into the world and discover that these ancient goa'ulds who have taken on the form of gods are still ruling these huge cultures of slaves. In the Stargate movie, the main bad guy is Ra. However, in the Stargate SG1 show, the main bad guy is Apophis, or rather the goa'uld who has taken on the identity of Apophis, and this goa'uld has managed to keep itself alive for thousands of years using healing technology. This evil being named Apophis is the one that the human organization Stargate Command has sent its best and preeminent team, SG1, to fight, and that is where our story starts. They clash on a seemingly empty and uninhabited world. Through a series of battles, they eventually come to learn that there are indeed inhabitants of this world. And after waking up after their fight without weapons in a strange forest, SG1 meet the pacifistic and caring Nox. Thinking little of them and their apparently quaint ways, SG1 tries to say and tries to convince how their fight against Apophis must be completed and how they must be allowed to continue the fighting with their weapons. Because if the heroes of SG1 do not stop Apophis, his mothership and Jaffa could attack the planet and destroy these pacifistic Nox. Oh, one quick thing. So the goa'uld are the snake-like things that burrow into someone's head. They took a bunch of humans and made them slaves all over the galaxy and then ruled over them as gods. However, there's one other thing. They also took humans and genetically transformed them into half-human, half-incubation thing for their larval goa'uld form. And this incubation/human form is known as a Jaffa. They're stronger, they're tougher, they're quicker, they live longer. They're just like upgraded humans. However, if they don't have a larval goa'uld inside them growing, they die. So the goa'uld made it so the Jaffa cannot live without them, which is a very interesting way of keeping them like subservient. SG1 continues to push the subject with the Nox, claiming that if they do not defeat Apophis, that Apophis could bring his mothership and Jaffa and destroy the planet and the pacifistic Nox. Not seeing the wisdom in the Nox's actions, only seeing them as childlike, innocent, and at risk for invasion, they push, and then eventually they cross the line and do what they are asked not to do. As guests upon the Nox's world, they find their weapons and use them, and are then subsequently banished for being reckless and, well, young and stupid. For in their subsequent fight, a Nox is killed in the crossfire, and SG1 feels shame for bringing death to such caring, kind, and ignorantly innocent people. Then, in a display of immense strength and powers reaching far beyond the understanding of humans, goa'uld or Jaffa, the Nox are able to heal their fallen kin, and are shown to do so while phasing in and out of reality, as though they are going invisible or into another dimension and back. These powers are far beyond what mortals should possess, and the youthfulness of even the oldest Nox was readily apparent to the members of SG1. SG1 made quite a mistake, and would have cost the Nox a life if the Nox could not heal and save that life. Yet, even in the ensuing chaos and trouble, SG1 proved that they have something very important that one day could be just as powerful and just as important as the Nox's intimate knowledge of truth. That thing that humanity had that SG1 showed was potential, for the wisdom of the Nox could see the potential that humans had. Eventually, everything was revealed to SG1 when the Nox told the humans to return to their world, but not first without a look at something inspiring. A great floating city rendered invisible by their might and powers. Such a city floating in the sky begs the question of how many cities they have. Is this an outpost or their grandest city? Is it just a monastery? Is it for research? The culture of the Nox is entirely unknown outside of a few interactions with the specific Nox named Laya. So these very, very simple Nox that had seemed like they were just forest people that had no technology, they only had fire, they only did this, they displayed some incredible abilities such as the ability to heal, the ability to render things invisible, really intimate knowledge of certain things and how youthful the elders were, and the fact that they could render an entire floating city of such immense size invisible as well was very impressive. So, the Nox are a humanoid race that has been in the Milky Way galaxy for an unknown amount of time. They could have originated on the world SG1 met them on, or they could have come from far away. And the 3 or 4 Nox that we saw could be the only ones living on that entire world. And that giant floating city could be the equivalent to a giant space RV, and they're just on vacation. Who knows what powers they possess and what planets and galaxies they have visited. The Ancients made it to the Pegasus galaxy and even launched the ship Destiny. I don't know if the Nox are natural explorers as well. I think that they are connected more to their nature and their planet. However, I think if they were to be, then their technology would be a lot like the tardigrade engine, or Star Trek's ripoff of it with the mycelial engine thingy. The Nox are shown to have some sort of moss or lichen for hair, or growing in their hair and clothes. I think it would be very cool if this entwined even more with their technology. Officially, the Nox are one of the 4 great races of the Alliance, between the Nox, Furlings, Ancients, and Asgard, and from the technology we see the Nox use, it is thought that the 4 great races must have shared technology between them. We never meet the Furlings in Stargate except the joke part in episode 200 where Daniel Jackson and Sam are like, oh no, we pushed the button and we blew up the planet, and there's just a whole bunch of like people in like furry suits. It's a really funny scene. However, we do meet the Ancients and the Asgard as well. Yet out of all the ancient races and peoples, the Nox might be my absolute favorite. It's interesting how little we know about them. I think that shows just how successful they are. For those who don't know about the Zatnik Atel and the Hatak and the Alkesh, They were said to be furling designs that goa'uld stole. The goa'uld are basically, they're the parasitic snake-like aliens that burrow into your brain, and then they'll steal your body, but they'll also steal your culture and all the best technology that you have. So for those who don't know the words that I just said before, the Zat'nekatel is the dick-looking laser gun that can make people disintegrate, the Hatak is the mothership, and the Alkesh are the bombers. So Space Doc does great videos for all the ships of Stargate if you want to know more. So if you want to know more, that is the Space Doc YouTube channel. That's where I learn about some of these ships. That guy does some really great videos for spaceships. Yet, the fact that no Nox technology is shown to be used by the parasitic goa'uld shows their level of success at battling them, and how little they were at risk for harm when SG1 and Apophis were clashing on their world. We later see when the Nox take in the Tolans are another advanced culture in the Milky Way, and the Nox find them a new planet to live on after the Tolans planet experienced catastrophic seismic upheaval after years and years of their poor environmental treatment of it. The Nox and Tolans formed a bond that seemed to benefit both parties, but it was later shown that the new Tolan culture had more issues adjusting, and they have their own story we can talk about in another video. Sam and, is it Nareem? Is Nareem the leader, or is Nareem the one that Sam likes? I think Nareem's the name. So it's like Sam and Nareem, I think, would have been really great for each other. Anyways, the Nox are so cool because they're a fairy or elf-like people in a sci-fi show, and they're so interwoven with nature and life that they make one question what is of true value, because the values of SG1 made them think that they were saving these Nox by committing murder upon the Nox's homeworld, which really would have been like having two dogs start fighting in front of you and having them tear apart your home, and the Nox are just trying to keep the mess everyone was making from causing any problems. So they make you wonder what's of true value, or what's of true importance, or what true knowledge is. Their intimate connection to the forests and their spirit. I think their spirit is the thing that I really like. And the fact that they value their spirit so much, and they will adamantly defend their spirit of sort of innocence and learning and all of this, that spirit that they embody, they will defend, and that is what they find important, compared to the humans who thought it was important to save the Nox by committing murder upon their own world. So the Nox are shown to use a few unique abilities, one of which is to activate the Stargate without a DHD or dial home device. For those who don't understand what that means, that's basically like calling someone on the phone without dialing any numbers, like speed dial, I guess. And their capability to render things invisible is quite the power, though they do not use this for war and instead choose to use it for self-defense. The power levels and abilities of the Nox are perhaps proof of what they are, partially ascended beings. It is known that one can ascend to a higher form in Stargate, to a plane of energy beyond our own understanding and experience. However, doing this leaves behind your physical form as you become pure energy. When an individual becomes close to Ascension, they begin displaying heightened intelligence, eidetic memory, increased perception and awareness, and even forms of empathic or psychic manifestations like mind reading or learning or understanding new languages in an instant, and knowing the thoughts of others like hearing them being spoken aloud. It would appear that the Nox have learned to harness this in between and live their life there. They display powers only seen by those on the path of ascension. The healing, the invisibility, awareness, and so much more are direct abilities gained through a higher evolved mental state, of which all Nox seem to be at. While the Asgard suffered genetic impurities in the clones and degraded, it appears that the Nox have taken a natural approach and evolved to much greater heights than perhaps any race before. And the fact that they display abilities only shown by those on the path to ascension without seemingly being on that path or seemingly going to the end of the journey is a very interesting thing. They seem to have found a way to harness the path to ascension without having to go through the complete form change of turning into energy. Well, those were the Nox, one of my favorite races from one of my favorite shows. If I find out there's some more Stargate viewers out there, then I can do in-depth videos about anything in Stargate. Anything you want to know. I didn't even need to look up anything for this, not even the names of the individual Nox or Tolans, and the only thing I think I might have got wrong was, is Nareen the leader or is Nareen the Tolan that Sam likes? I'm not 100% sure. This is all from memory. The origins of the Alkesh, Hatak, or Zat Nikatel, it was all just there waiting for me to talk about. The only thing that I actually had to look up was the specific effects of Ascension, because I wanted to make sure I had the whole list of abilities and didn't leave anything out. Otherwise, this is all from memory. I've watched so much SG1 and Atlantis. I've seen every episode at least 4 or 5 times, and some of the good ones maybe over a dozen times or more. So if you have any questions about Stargate, just let me know and I will be very happy to talk about it more in the future. Like I said, I've watched it way too much and I didn't even need to look things up to write this video. It's all just there in my mind. It's like my whole young adult life was Stargate pretty much. Well, thanks for watching everyone. Please leave this video a like if you want more Stargate content. A like lets me know that you want more of this topic. Subscribe for daily videos and leave any questions or suggestions in the comments below, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.